their own unique approach.
Oh my.
Yay, protecting people. So as Kate said, we are very thankful for everything you guys did to help us get to New Orleans. I don't know if all of you know, before we left for the trip, the week before, the weather was not cooperating. They were calling for a tropical storm, possible hurricane down in New Orleans. It was literally the gathering people were deciding day by day what they were going to do and how they were going to deal with 20,000 teenagers coming to a city that was going to have a hurricane. By the time we got off the plane, it was sunny. We only got rained on twice in a week where they were calling for flash flooding and hurricane and who knows what. And that's the power of prayer. That's the power of 20,000 Lutherans and all their families and friends that knew about it praying that the weather would hold out so we could have this gathering. And that was how we started. We got there, it was sunny, it was beautiful, it was hot. New Orleans is very, very hot. But we started out on a good foot. So Kara's going to tell us about our first section.
Okay, I'm going to talk about our prayer partners and meeting people. So I want to start off by thanking everybody who was a prayer partner. We really appreciated it. It was great, throughout the week, being able to look at, cards from people, just feeling from home. But yeah, that was really, really appreciated. We all loved that. Yeah. So now I'm going to talk about, some of the people we met. We met a lot of people in and out of the convention center. At the convention center, we met some people, this guy we got ice cream from pretty much every night. He was really funny. Some of the people that drove us on the bus, and also in the convention center, we went to a couple of sessions with the same lady. Her name was Amy. She had an amazing story each time, and hearing their stories, meeting these people, it grew my faith so much, and I'm so thankful for everybody that we met, all the people who came and told their story, and were just friendly and liked to talk. So, that's it. Haley?
Okay, so I'm a Lutheran, but what I'm going to talk about is plane ride, and I've never been on a plane before, so I just prayed about it, and it all turned out fine. We took 3 planes. The first one's landing was a little rough and bumpy, which wasn't very pleasant. The second one was decent. The plane was a little packed together, which I wasn't very fond of, but I guess it's better than nothing, I guess. The fourth plane ride got delayed by an hour, which kind of upset me, so then I thought I can sleep, and I didn't sleep on the plane, which I should have, but I don't really know what else to say about the plane. Who's next?
I'm going to talk about the St. Louis Cathedral and the wedding we saw. This was our second day. I think we walked down to the Cafe du Monde. We were right next to the cathedral. And you never hear about the American cathedrals. You always hear about the European ones like Notre Dame and all that. But we have them. Sadly, you couldn't see most of the front because they were working on it with renovations and all that. But we did get some pictures inside, and it was pretty cool. I mean, when you think of the cathedral, that's it. But when we were leaving, we had walked past the Andrew Jackson Memorial, and we saw a woman in a wedding dress walking by taking pictures. And Faye had ran up to her and vlogged her. As you can see right there, that's her. And after a while, we were talking about what we were going to do, and then we looked over, and she was getting married right then and there in front of the people. And I think before we left, we heard them all clapping and celebrating. But yeah. Yeah, Bronx Hair LLC.
I get to talk about the swamp tours, where we saw a good amount of gators. One cool thing was the way you could tell how big they were, because you could only see the top of their face, was the difference between their nostrils and their eyes, depending on the distance from it in inches, how long they were. They didn't have any crazy long ones there. One that was like 12 feet, but we didn't see that, called Crazy Eyes. And a lot of them are farm ones, or just ones that like people get at pools, stuff. So they do the marshmallows too, so they can float the boat and everything. Lots of cranes. So one guy said, one tour guide said the crane was a ribeye of the sky. So. They have a raccoon there somewhere. They call it Mama, but. And then the boats are actually really big. They fit around 16 people. Oh, I made pictures of it, but. Okay. Yeah, not the airport. There's one at the top. You can see it.
And yeah, all the people
Yeah.
on that's how big the boats were.
Which they can go about 35 miles an hour with just a fan, so it's really loud as well. Can't hear yourself after it goes.
You did wear ear protection.
If you did, I wasn't smart, I didn't do that.
Hey, I offered you earplugs.
That's not really had to say about it. It wasn't much else.
That was about the only day that it rained on us. It was on our swamp.
So I'm talking about our sessions and Bible study that happened at the convention center. So these are some pictures of people in some sessions, and like pictures of some of the like leaders. The top left, that was one of our speakers at one of our sessions. So the sessions, you had a list, a whole schedule. They just had a title, small description. They were basically just 45 minutes, hour-long lectures on anything. I went to one about TikTok, one about having Jesus in every day of your life, and one about self-esteem. They were kind of about anything that young, youth, to like even adults could kind of listen to and grow in their faith. And then every day, we also had a 1-hour Bible study at noon that just kind of delved into the Bible and delved into our message of endure and stuff like that. And in the convention center, they had kind of an area where there was a bunch of charities, businesses, anything like that. Concordia is the big one. They had all of their Concordia universities were there. They would give out free stuff. There was some like, I don't know, demos, I guess, I don't know, but there were just little things you could do, little like games you could play, whatever, where you can like learn about what that group was doing. I can't think of anything that I can't remember any of them, but that was kind of inside the convention center.
Could you water ski? Lower left, the back, go back one. Lower left.
Do you want to talk about that right quick? Holding an alligator.
I was really scared. I saw the person before me holding it, and when I picked it up, it felt so weird, and I could like feel the heartbeat. I almost dropped it on the ground.
And so our last slide was our server project. We were making calendars for like visibly impaired people. So they would have really, really big letters, like just really big sizes. That way, if you were visually impaired or whatever, you could still see them. And so yeah, that was like an hour and a half, 2 hours of us. I don't remember what day that was. Wednesday.
Everything runs together.
Yeah.
It wasn't Braille, it was.
We were with the Lutheran Braille people, but they had us making calendars. Other groups were making the books.
So I'm talking about the Flame concert. I don't know what day, I forgot what day it was, but yeah, it was our third day. And so actually, some of us were able to go to, or had a Missouri youth gathering, and he performed at that a couple years ago. So whenever we found out that he was going to be singing at the National Youth Gathering, we were pretty excited. And he makes music about like just the Christian faith, and it's really interesting to hear about what he sings and stuff. And you know, it was just a fun time. I lost my voice about like halfway through it, and I got a T-shirt of one of his like album covers or something, and we just had a lot of fun. There were so many people there, so it just was super loud, and like it was just like a concert, and it seemed like everyone loved him. And he had a message for us, like a sermon, during the middle of the event, and he just wants us to, you know, build our faith with his music. And yeah, pretty much it. But yeah. Oh, thank you. Shout out Lucas, for editing them. He had to stay up all night editing them.
I'm talking about last event. So there was a lot of people. It was very loud. It was really fun. There was like at the beginning of the night they had like something like to entertain us before starting. It was like a game show. A couple nights. What was it called? Trade Packs, yeah. It was very funny. It was like games or whatever. And we had like 3 main speakers, and I don't know about the poems to us a lot. And then we sang a lot of songs. Very funny. Yeah. It was very fun, and it was very cool to see everybody together and like hear everybody, and like you could just really, you felt very connected to everyone who else said first. Yeah. And that's Bethany Hamilton. She came and talked to us one night. She's awesome. Yeah. Yeah.
One thing about our youth group is we love ice cream. We went through almost hurricane level storms to get our ice cream. Kara almost lost her crop. We love ice cream. We went to this one ice cream shop really close to our hotel. We went there, I think, 2 or 3 times, and he was always excited to see us because we knew we'd make a lot of money on it. Oh yeah, we took a picture with the dude. He's thrilled. We gave him a workout. See, we were absolutely soaked from the rain. We had a lot of good food. One thing we don't have a lot of pictures of, obviously, is like the homeless problem in New Orleans, and they told us going down there that there's a lot of homeless people in New Orleans, and just to be safe. So if we could pray for some of the homeless people, just keep them on your hearts, because it's really hard. So it's just hard to function down there, and there's people down there that don't have a home. So if we could just maybe pray for them, like before you go to bed or something like that. And another scary thing we saw down there was some protesters. I need some pictures of that. Okay. Well, it's these people from the Westboro Baptist Church. It's not a church. They had signs outside our youth gathering with like slurs and stuff, trying to they had defamation on the Word of God, and we didn't really interact with them much, but we just started chanting "Jesus loves you" at them, and the enemy will try to deter people from hearing the truth, and if the enemy is putting that group of people at something this big, I think you're doing something right, because he's scared of the power that you're going to have. Just pray for those people, the protesters and the homeless people. But it really helped us open our eyes, and we're thankful for having a home here in Missouri and for a church that cares about us and loves everybody that knows us.
I have one thing to add about the Westboro. One thing, as we were walking, Carrie and I would go to adult meetings every morning to find out what was going on, if anything had changed for the day, and they told us that what was going on down at the convention center. So we were preparing, and as we got closer, we would see nothing but a wall of the ambassadors for the gathering, and they were called the yellow shirts. They were all in yellow shirts, and then the YAVs, the young adult volunteers, which some of them were teens, just over, about Kyle's age, and Kara's age, and Allison's age, and some are, a little bit older, but they just lined, not Kara, Kate, sorry. Sorry, I always get you confused. But they just lined the streets of not protecting, but just cheering us on, in front of these, protesters, making a wall as we went into the convention center. For some of us that are short, like myself, I saw signs, but I never did see a protester, because the wall was so thick and long. I mean, we were so protected and surrounded. We even had police officers, the New Orleans police officers were surrounding us also and cheering us on. And, clapping for us and chanting with us. as we would walk in between the wall and on our way into the convention center. I never once felt unsafe as I was walking by through that wall. So we were very welcomed though in New Orleans by the police too.
So the West, this Westboro Group, they're Baptist?
No.
No.
It's
Just
just
a name.
false advertising, they're not Baptist. It's literally a cult that hates on everybody. They just atheists, Muslims, they don't like homosexuals, Christians, everybody. They don't like anybody except themselves. And they sue people, so they're just trying to get you angry and sue you. Alright. So I'm here to talk about the food. The food was a huge part of our trip. We went out to eat every single night. And while we were at the convention center, there weren't a whole lot of options. There were a couple like pop-up food stands, and you had to wait like an hour in line to get anything. But we made up for it because we went out to these really nice restaurants every night. I remember one night we went to like a Creole house, and if you don't know much about like New Orleans food, it's a lot of gumbo like you had today. I don't think I ever had red beans and rice down there, but I guess that's a thing down there. We went to Cafe Du Monde one morning, our second day, and they had beignets. As you can see, that's a really big French breakfast type dessert thing down in New Orleans. Here are some black and red fish I ate with gumbo. Just a lot of that southern type, po' boys was a big thing. I had a lot of like chicken Alfredo with like, well not chicken, but shrimp on top. What else was it? You had a lot of salad. I also ate a lot of salad. That's just me. That's not really New Orleans. And Sammy wants to say something about what he had.
Oh, yeah. Alright, so whenever you go down to New Orleans, there's this World War II museum. And there's this restaurant in there, and they have these crazy beignet fries. Powdered, like, they give you like 30 fries, sugar all over them, and it's like beignets, like these things, but in fry form. And they give you this raspberry sauce, like, only $6 too, like, it's a steal. And honestly, it's just, like, I was a little sick, and then I ate that, and it just made me feel like $100, like, really. So, if you're ever down there, like, that might be your first stop. Like, I would suggest that.
How was the museum?
It was good, but wait, are we talking about that? Oh, it was good. I was sick, so it just kind of like fazed me, but a lot of great information. So go to the museum, get some information about what happened during that time, and then get you some beignet fries.
So, the museum, how many of you been to the New Orleans World Museum? Has anyone been there? Yeah, okay, so they have like, I think it's like 4 different main buildings, and basically each section is like a country that the war was in. So like one part was like Japan, and then there was like a Germany section. You would go in, and it would kind of go like, in like a periodical order of like what, like you would walk through the museum and it'd be like, it'd start out with what happened first in this country, and then it was really cool. And then there were of course like a lot of gift shops and everything. I was gonna say something else.
There were also veterans there.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Okay, while we went in there were a bunch of World War II veterans. Most of them were in wheelchairs because these are probably like in their mid-90s by now, but it was really cool to see them, just explore the museum. That was a good experience, and we got to like greet them, like wave at them, some of them. It was really nice. Okay.
I will be talking about the music we listened to. Every mass event opened up with some music and got us awake from our long day. And it was always upbeat. There's system on the table right there. But it was always upbeat, and it always really made, like, I enjoyed the music. It was really fun, and it really let us explore our faith with each other. There's some pictures from the museum and on Missouri District gathering and service with fire truck.
Wait, can I say something about music too? Like when we would walk down the streets, there were like street performers everywhere. Like every night we'd walk outside and there were like jazz bands and stuff.
It was really.
And people playing on like drums, like little kids, like couldn't even talk yet, and they were like playing instruments. It was cool.
They would use buckets as the drum part, and then drumsticks, and then they would play on the buckets.
Yeah, we had that, and then we had, I think it was on the slideshow, but we had a Michael Jackson impersonator there, and he was really fun. And then also on our way back from our hotels, we would sing a bunch of songs, and Delta Dawn was really popular, so.
Okay, so as you can see, we had a great time. I'm very, very proud of these guys. We had a great trip. It was long, the days were long, we were busy, we were sweaty, we were tired, we were hungry, and these guys, they didn't complain. They just showed up and did their stuff, and they had a great attitude, and you could see them out there, you know, sharing God's word and sharing His joy, and just, it was amazing. It was amazing watching them and how awesome they did when, under normal circumstances, you know, it would have been completely normal to be tired and grumpy, and even when they were sick, they just had this great attitude, and they were out there making our church proud. As you can see on the slides, these are things that they did at the convention center. Some of the service projects were packing backpacks and donating hair and donating blood, and those are all the things that were accomplished at the convention center in the 3 days that it was open. Also, you know, we had the Thriving card that was given to us. There were other churches that had snacks and stuff, and on our last day, because we flew, we couldn't bring our extra food home, so we were handing it out to the homeless, and we ended up handing part of it out to a construction crew, because the homeless people told us, thank you all so much. We've gotten so much food. We have a supply back in our tents. And that was from all the kids sharing their food and their, you know, everything else they had that they could share. The ice cream guy was like, thank you so much. I heard him and a friend talking, and his friend was like, we're gonna make $700 this month. And when I ordered last and I got up there, and he's like, are you the leader? And I was like, yes. He's like, thank you so much for bringing these kids here. So and he gave me a banana. And but even, you know, us buying ice cream almost every day was blessing the people of New Orleans, who were very good to us. We were very blessed on this trip, and we could not have done it without the help of you all. So thank you so much. And they have announced the next trip is in San Antonio in 2028. Does anyone have any questions or anything they would like to know about the trip?
Can I go with you guys?
Anyone else?
Yes, you can go.
Okay.
Did you all meet, a whole group of people when you met, or did you meet individuals as friends? Like when you were meeting people?
I mostly just
Working with
met
others.
individuals.
Did you?
I mean, when we were walking around the convention center, you know, you would get to talk to people from like other states, and usually they would be in groups of like 2 or 3. So you would kind of like meet all their friends, like where are you from?
Whenever we were in the convention center too, they had like this sports little center, and like whenever you weren't doing sessions or just walking around, like you would go over there and do like volleyball, basketball, and all that. So me and Jack would play some basketball, and we would meet these people, and we had fun, and you just, you know, you'd see their face, like whenever we were walking around the other days, and you just say, oh, we play basketball together, and so we just, I mean, just make a lot of friends whenever you go to these things. So that's that.
And like Jack knew a lot of people from Heights Point, and walking back at night especially,
we would be in with the same groups a lot, so they got to recognize people, a lot of people got to recognize Kyle.
Tell them about the clothes pick. Tell them about the clothes pick.
No, we're not telling them.
For me, it was a different experience because going to St. Paul High School and then going to a Concordia college, I got to meet a lot of friends that I hadn't seen in a long time, some in 20 years. So it was a good reconnect for me, just to get to see them and to see them bring their kids, you know, and because it may have been their first youth gathering, and so it was just good to experience that with them, and then seeing the excitement of a lot of kids. I mean, I felt old. I felt old, but then I saw a lot of older people. I think the oldest one serving may have been in their 80s. And they were an ambassador, and they were an experience, you know, to see them serving while they're in their 80s, out there either conducting traffic for us so that we don't get run over, or, you know, directing us in different places in the convention center or in the Superdome. Just the reconnect, because I was like, oh, I remember you from 3 years ago, you know, and they continue to serve. So it was just a good mix of the older generation with the younger generation, and to see the excitement of all of them.
Did y'all stay in the same group all the time, or did y'all eat different places and stuff?
Well, as a group, our group, we would generally eat together. And sometimes there would be other groups from other churches or in the area. I think there was one night we waited a while. Well, I waited a while for my food. Everyone was done eating before I had even gotten my food. But that's just how busy they were. And but a lot of places we had to make reservations. Otherwise, you'd be eating candy at midnight for your supper.
Is there any other?
You were saying a while ago about prayers, that now I guess our district president in Hagen had a stroke, and he is in the hospital, last I heard, in New Orleans. So if you met him and his family that were there.
I did. I met him. I had seen him, and I think it was the day after I saw him is when he had his stroke. He is continuing rehab in New Orleans. I don't know the extent of the damage that he had, but he is receiving his OT, occupational therapy, and all that in New Orleans before he is brought back to Missouri. So.
Does anybody else have questions?
I think there was a picture of Sarah and Rebecca at the plane concert. Is there any way somebody can send that to me?
Yes. That one, right?
Because if I had to beg home getting it for my kids.
I don't even have it, so.
I have that. I can yeah. If you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, if you guys are interested in pictures,
We can put this one.
we can make sure that you can get some.
I mean, I can't see, I'm pretty sure, I know that's Rebecca, but I'm pretty sure that's.
It is Sarah.
It's Sarah.
They were having a very nice sister moment.
Yeah,
there.
I know, that's why.
I want to thank Kara and Madison for sending me pictures of Dad, because he would not take pictures while he was down. And he gave those girls my cell phone number, and I loved it. Because that was the only way I got to see him the whole time, so, because he was not taking pictures.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Thank you. Anything else? Okay.
we're gonna do our closing that we did every single night. The words should be on the screen. Okay, we'll watch the video and then we'll do it.
That is the video.
Yeah, I'm trying to watch it. Yeah, we're just gonna do the words. We'll just do the words. Okay, can everybody see them? Okay, I'll be the youth and I guess you guys can be old. Jesus endured the cross.
We endure Jesus.
We are surrounded by a great cloud of witnesses.
We endure as a people.
Let us run with endurance the race that is set before us.
We endure to the end.
Okay, thank you everybody for staying and listening to us. Thank you for all of the support throughout this entire trip. Thank you for everything. Does anybody else want to say anything?
We couldn't have done it without you.
Thank you all.